Question 1. A project manager is leading a software development project when a major new industry standard is published that affects several key functionalities currently under development. What is the most appropriate initial step for the project manager to take in response to this external change? A. Immediately halt all related development work and wait for further instructions from the sponsor. B. Issue a formal change request to incorporate the new industry standard into the project scope. C. Conduct a thorough impact analysis to understand the effects on scope, schedule, cost, and quality. D. Communicate the new standard to the development team and instruct them to integrate it as best they can. Answer: C. Conduct a thorough impact analysis to understand the effects on scope, schedule, cost, and quality. When an external change like a new industry standard emerges, the project manager's most appropriate initial step is to conduct a thorough impact analysis. This process helps determine the full implications of the change across all project constraints and objectives before any reactive decisions are made. Understanding the impact on scope, schedule, cost, and quality provides the necessary information to evaluate the severity and formulate an informed response. Always prioritize assessment before action to ensure any subsequent decisions are well-founded and minimize disruption. Question 2. During the execution of a new product development project, a key supplier unexpectedly announces a significant delay in delivering a critical component. This is an external factor threatening the project timeline. What should the project manager prioritize next? A. Inform the project sponsor and key stakeholders about the delay and its potential impact. B. Update the project schedule to reflect the new delivery date from the supplier. C. Immediately search for a new, alternative supplier for the critical component. D. Activate the project's risk response plan for supplier delays. Answer: A. Inform the project sponsor and key stakeholders about the delay and its potential impact. When an external factor like a significant supplier delay threatens the project timeline, the project manager's immediate priority should be to communicate transparently with the project sponsor and other key stakeholders. While evaluating options and activating risk plans are important, ensuring that all relevant parties are aware of the situation and its potential consequences is fundamental for collaborative decision-making and managing expectations. This early communication allows stakeholders to provide input and support in addressing the issue. Remember, proactive communication is key to managing stakeholder expectations and mitigating adverse impacts. Question 3. An Agile team is halfway through a sprint when new market research data reveals a significant shift in customer preferences that directly impacts a feature being developed. How should the team best address this external change? A. Complete the current sprint as planned, then address the new information in the next sprint planning. B. Raise a change request to the product owner for immediate reprioritization of the backlog. C. Discard the current work on the affected feature and start working on a new, unrelated task. D. Consult with the product owner to evaluate the new data and potentially adapt the sprint backlog. Answer: D. Consult with the product owner to evaluate the new data and potentially adapt the sprint backlog. In an Agile environment, when new external information like market research data impacts a feature, the team should immediately consult with the product owner. The product owner is responsible for maximizing the value of the product and managing the product backlog, making them the primary decision-maker for incorporating new insights. This collaboration allows for evaluation of the data's impact and, if necessary, adaptation of the current sprint backlog to ensure the team is always building the most valuable features for the customer. Agile principles emphasize responding to change over following a plan, so adapting dynamically is crucial. Question 4. A project manager is overseeing the construction of a new commercial building. Midway through the project, the local government announces new, stricter environmental regulations concerning building materials. What is the first formal action the project manager should take? A. Submit a formal change request to the Change Control Board. B. Update the project management plan to reflect the new regulations. C. Consult with the legal department and environmental experts to understand the implications. D. Inform the construction team to cease using materials that might violate the new regulations. Answer: C. Consult with the legal department and environmental experts to understand the implications. When faced with an external change like new government regulations, the project manager's first formal action should be to thoroughly understand the new requirements and their specific implications. Consulting with subject matter experts, such as the legal department and environmental experts, is crucial to accurately interpret the regulations and assess their impact on the project's scope, budget, schedule, and compliance. This deep understanding is necessary before any formal change requests or plan updates can be accurately formulated. Always ensure you fully comprehend external regulations before planning a response. Question 5. The project team discovers that a specific technology plan for integration into the product has become obsolete, and support for it will end next year. This is a significant external change affecting the project's technical approach. What is the immediate concern for the project manager? A. Finding a new technology vendor to replace the obsolete one. B. Assessing the impact of the obsolescence on the project's technical baseline and future maintainability. C. Notifying the project sponsor about the need for a major rescoping. D. Initiating a formal lessons learned session to understand why this was missed. Answer: B. Assessing the impact of the obsolescence on the project's technical baseline and future maintainability. When an external factor like technology obsolescence is identified, the project manager's immediate concern is to assess its impact comprehensively. Understanding how the obsolete technology affects the project's technical baseline, its planned functionalities, and the long-term maintainability of the product is critical for making informed decisions. This assessment will inform whether a replacement is needed, what design changes are required, and what the financial and schedule implications might be. Always evaluate the full spectrum of effects before deciding on a specific course of action. Question 6. A project is impacted by unforeseen economic inflation, significantly increasing the cost of raw materials required for the project. The project budget is now insufficient. What should the project manager do? A. Request additional funds from the project sponsor immediately. B. Reevaluate the project scope to identify areas for reduction. C. Analyze alternative materials or suppliers to mitigate the cost increase. D. Update the cost baseline and contingency reserves to reflect the new reality. Answer: C. Analyze alternative materials or suppliers to mitigate the cost increase. When an external factor like economic inflation causes material costs to rise beyond the budget, the project manager should first focus on finding practical solutions to mitigate the financial impact. Analyzing alternative materials or exploring new suppliers are proactive steps to directly address the cost increase and potentially avoid overruns. While requesting additional funds or re-evaluating scope might be necessary later, exploring cost-saving alternatives is a primary responsibility to manage the project effectively within budget constraints. Always look for creative solutions to external challenges before resorting to drastic measures. Question 7. A critical regulatory body unexpectedly issues a new compliance guideline that impacts a key deliverable of your project, requiring significant redesign efforts. This change was not foreseen in the risk register. What is the most crucial next step? A. Create a new risk entry for the regulatory change and update the risk register. B. Initiate the Perform Integrated Change Control process. C. Call an emergency meeting with the project team to brainstorm solutions. D. Inform the client that the project will be delayed due to external circumstances. Answer: B. Initiate the Perform Integrated Change Control process. When an external change like a new, unforeseen regulatory guideline significantly impacts a key deliverable, the most crucial next step is to initiate the Perform Integrated Change Control process. This formal process is designed to review, evaluate, and approve or reject all proposed changes to the project, ensuring that any modifications are carefully considered and aligned with project objectives. Engaging in this structured process ensures the change is properly documented, assessed for impacts, and approved by the appropriate authority. Always leverage formal change control to manage significant project alterations effectively. Question 8. A project team is developing a new mobile application. During user acceptance testing, a competitor releases a breakthrough application with a superior user interface, potentially making the project's current UI design less competitive. How should the project manager address this external market change? A. Ignore the competitor's release and focus on completing the current design. B. Instruct the team to immediately adopt the competitor's UI elements. C. Conduct a competitive analysis and evaluate potential adjustments with the product owner and stakeholders. D. Announce a project delay to allow for a full UI redesign. Answer: C. Conduct a competitive analysis and evaluate potential adjustments with the product owner and stakeholders. When an external market change, such as a competitor's breakthrough product, threatens the project's competitive edge, the project manager should proactively assess the situation. Conducting a competitive analysis helps understand the implications of the competitor's UI, and then evaluating potential adjustments with the product owner and key stakeholders ensures that any changes are strategically aligned with the product's vision and market needs. This collaborative approach allows for informed decisions on whether and how to adapt the project. Always assess the market landscape and collaborate with stakeholders to maintain project relevance. Question 9. A long-term project relies heavily on the availability of a specific type of specialized labor. A sudden, unexpected national shortage of this labor type emerges, driven by external economic factors. What immediate action should the project manager take concerning project resources? A. Issue a formal request to increase the project budget for higher labor costs. B. Reassign existing project team members to fill the specialized roles. C. Consult human resources and procurement to explore alternative sourcing strategies. D. Notify the sponsor that the project will be delayed indefinitely. Answer: C. Consult human resources and procurement to explore alternative sourcing strategies. When faced with an external change like a national labor shortage, the project manager's immediate action regarding resources should be to consult with relevant internal departments, such as human resources and procurement. These departments possess expertise in talent acquisition and vendor management, and can help explore alternative sourcing strategies, such as engaging external contractors, accelerating training programs, or adjusting recruitment efforts. This collaborative approach helps identify viable solutions to address the resource constraint effectively. Always leverage internal expertise to navigate external resource challenges. Question 10. The project team is informed that a critical piece of hardware, ordered months ago, will be delivered with a significantly altered specification due to a manufacturer's supply chain issues. This external change necessitates a re-evaluation of the technical solution. What document should the project manager prepare first to communicate this impact? A. A revised scope statement. B. A formal change request. C. An updated project schedule. D. A new risk management plan. Answer: B. A formal change request. When an external factor like a significant change in hardware specifications requires a re-evaluation of the technical solution, the project manager should prepare a formal change request first. This document outlines the proposed change, its rationale, and its anticipated impact on project baselines, ensuring that all necessary details are captured for evaluation by the Change Control Board. A change request is the designated mechanism for formally proposing and managing alterations to the project, ensuring that such significant external influences are addressed through a structured process. Always use the formal change request process for significant external impacts. Question 11. During a project, a major public protest erupts regarding the environmental impact of the project's proposed site, leading to potential delays and reputational damage. How should the project manager best respond to this external social factor? A. Ignore the protests, as they are outside the project's direct control. B. Engage with communication experts and stakeholders to develop a public relations strategy. C. Immediately stop all work on the project site until the protests subside. D. Inform the project sponsor that the project is at high risk of cancellation. Answer: B. Engage with communication experts and stakeholders to develop a public relations strategy. When an external social factor like public protest threatens a project, the project manager should proactively engage with communication experts and relevant stakeholders to develop a public relations strategy. Ignoring such issues can lead to severe reputational damage and project delays. Developing a communication plan helps manage public perception, address concerns, and demonstrate the project's commitment to social responsibility, potentially mitigating negative impacts. Always prioritize stakeholder engagement and transparent communication when social factors affect your project. Question 12. An international project faces unexpected significant fluctuations in currency exchange rates, impacting the cost of materials purchased from overseas suppliers. This is an external economic change. What is the most effective proactive strategy to manage this risk? A. Immediately halt all overseas purchases until rates stabilize. B. Include currency fluctuation as a new entry in the risk register and monitor it. C. Negotiate fixed-rate contracts with suppliers or explore hedging strategies. D. Ask the project sponsor for an increase in the contingency reserve. Answer: C. Negotiate fixed-rate contracts with suppliers or explore hedging strategies. When an international project faces currency exchange rate fluctuations, the most effective proactive strategy is to mitigate the financial risk through specific contractual or financial instruments. Negotiating fixed-rate contracts with suppliers locks in prices, while exploring hedging strategies, such as forward contracts, can protect against adverse rate movements. These actions directly address the potential financial impact of the external economic change. Always look for specific risk response strategies to proactively manage identified external threats. Question 13. Your project involves developing a new medical device. Halfway through the project, the National Health Authority publishes new, mandatory safety standards for such devices, requiring a redesign. What is the immediate impact area the project manager should focus on evaluating? A. Project budget and funding. B. Project scope and quality requirements. C. Project team morale and productivity. D. Project communication plan. Answer: B. Project scope and quality requirements. When a national health authority issues new mandatory safety standards for a product, the immediate impact area the project manager should focus on evaluating is the project's scope and quality requirements. These new standards directly dictate what the product must do and how well it must perform, necessitating potential changes to the product features, design, and testing protocols. Understanding how these changes affect the product's functionality and quality is paramount for compliance and success. Always prioritize evaluating the direct impact of regulatory changes on your product's core requirements. Question 14. An Agile team is working on a product release. During a sprint review, feedback from key external stakeholders reveals a critical change in their business priorities, making a planned feature less valuable. What should the product owner do next? A. Reject the feedback, as the sprint is already planned. B. Adapt the product backlog to reflect the new priorities and reprioritize items. C. Add the feedback to a lessons learned document for future reference. D. Conduct a root cause analysis to understand why priorities shifted. Answer: B. Adapt the product backlog to reflect the new priorities and reprioritize items. In an Agile project, when external stakeholder feedback reveals a critical shift in business priorities, the product owner's primary responsibility is to adapt the product backlog. The backlog is a living artifact that reflects the most current understanding of product value, and incorporating new priorities ensures the team is always working on what matters most to the business. This flexibility and responsiveness to change are fundamental to Agile methodology. Always be ready to adapt the product backlog based on evolving stakeholder needs and market insights. Question 15. A project is impacted by significant, unexpected adverse weather conditions that prevent site access and delay construction activities for several weeks. This is an external environmental change. What is the project manager's responsibility regarding the project schedule? A. Create a new baseline schedule reflecting the full delay. B. Expedite future activities to recover lost time without rebaselining. C. Analyze the delay's impact and develop a recovery plan with stakeholders. D. Use contingency reserves to hire more resources and catch up. Answer: C. Analyze the delay's impact and develop a recovery plan with stakeholders. When an external environmental change like significant adverse weather causes project delays, the project manager's responsibility is to thoroughly analyze the delay's impact on the schedule and develop a comprehensive recovery plan in collaboration with relevant stakeholders. Simply rebaselining or using contingency funds without a clear strategy might not be effective. A recovery plan outlines specific actions to mitigate the delay, such as schedule compression techniques or resource adjustments, and gaining stakeholder buy-in ensures aligned efforts. Always analyze the impact and plan recovery collaboratively to navigate unforeseen external challenges. Question 16. A company's internal security audit, an external change from the project's perspective, identifies a critical vulnerability in a third-party component being integrated into the project's software. This requires an immediate re-evaluation of the solution. What is the most immediate consequence the project manager needs to assess? A. The need to hire new cybersecurity experts. B. The potential impact on project budget due to rework. C. The risk to the project's overall security posture and compliance. D. The possibility of project cancellation due to the vulnerability. Answer: C. The risk to the project's overall security posture and compliance. When an external security audit identifies a critical vulnerability in a third-party component, the most immediate consequence the project manager needs to assess is the risk to the project's overall security posture and compliance. This directly impacts the product's fundamental integrity and its ability to meet regulatory or organizational security requirements. While budget and resources are also important, the primary concern is the potential breach or failure to meet security standards. Always prioritize evaluating the direct impact on product integrity and compliance when security vulnerabilities are discovered. Question 17. A team is working on a complex AI project. A competitor unexpectedly announces the launch of a new, highly advanced AI model that makes some of the project's planned features redundant. This is an external market change. What is the immediate role of the project manager? A. Instruct the team to abandon the project. B. Schedule a meeting with the product owner and key stakeholders to reassess the product strategy. C. Attempt to replicate the competitor's AI model. D. Continue with the original plan, assuming the competitor's launch is a temporary market anomaly. Answer: B. Schedule a meeting with the product owner and key stakeholders to reassess the product strategy. When an external market change, like a competitor's breakthrough product, renders some planned features redundant, the project manager's immediate role is to facilitate a strategic reassessment. Scheduling a meeting with the product owner and key stakeholders is crucial to discuss the market shift, evaluate the project's viability, and collectively decide on adapting the product strategy to maintain competitiveness or pivot the project's direction. Ignoring such a significant external event is not an option. Always engage key decision-makers quickly when external market forces disrupt the product's relevance. Question 18. A project to build a new factory is suddenly impacted by a new local zoning ordinance that prohibits industrial construction in the planned area. This is an external regulatory change. What is the project manager's most critical next step? A. Identify an alternative location for the factory construction. B. File an appeal against the new zoning ordinance. C. Assess the feasibility and cost of adapting the project to a new location or purpose. D. Inform the project sponsor about the need to cancel the project. Answer: C. Assess the feasibility and cost of adapting the project to a new location or purpose. When a project is impacted by an external regulatory change like a new zoning ordinance that prohibits construction, the project manager's most critical next step is to comprehensively assess the feasibility and cost of adapting the project. This involves evaluating options such as finding an alternative location, exploring changes to the project's scope to comply with the ordinance, or even determining if the project's core purpose can be redefined. This assessment provides the necessary data for stakeholders to make an informed decision on the project's future. Always thoroughly evaluate all adaptation options before considering project termination. Question 19. The availability of a key technology component, crucial for your project, is suddenly constrained globally due to a natural disaster in a manufacturing region. This is an external supply chain change. What should the project manager prioritize as a risk response? A. Update the project schedule to reflect potential delays. B. Explore alternative component suppliers and negotiate terms. C. Inform the project sponsor about the unavoidable delay. D. Reduce the scope of the project to eliminate reliance on the component. Answer: B. Explore alternative component suppliers and negotiate terms. When a critical technology component's availability is constrained due to an external supply chain disruption, the project manager should prioritize actively exploring alternative suppliers. This proactive risk response aims to find a viable replacement for the component to keep the project on track and mitigate delays. While updating schedules and informing stakeholders are important, finding a practical solution to the supply problem directly addresses the root cause of the threat. Always prioritize finding practical alternatives when external supply chain issues arise. Question 20. A project is in its testing phase when a significant economic downturn begins, impacting consumer spending and potentially reducing the market for the product. This is an external economic change. What immediate action should the project manager take? A. Accelerate the testing phase to launch the product before the downturn worsens. B. Reassess the business case and market viability of the product with key stakeholders. C. Cut project costs by reducing team size and scope. D. Focus solely on technical completion, ignoring market conditions. Answer: B. Reassess the business case and market viability of the product with key stakeholders. When an external economic downturn threatens the market for a project's product, the project manager's immediate action should be to reassess the business case and market viability in collaboration with key stakeholders. This evaluation determines if the product remains relevant and profitable under the new economic conditions, informing decisions on whether to adjust scope, pivot strategy, or even pause/cancel the project. Launching without reassessment could lead to significant financial losses. Always reevaluate the business case when significant external economic shifts occur. Question 21. A project manager is overseeing a long-term research and development project. A new scientific discovery, made by an external research institution, promises to significantly enhance the project's intended outcome but requires a fundamental shift in the project's technical approach. How should this opportunity be evaluated? A. As an unavoidable scope creep that must be rejected. B. As a potential new risk that needs to be mitigated. C. As an opportunity that requires a thorough feasibility and impact analysis. D. As a reason to immediately pivot the project to incorporate the discovery. Answer: C. As an opportunity that requires a thorough feasibility and impact analysis. When an external factor like a new scientific discovery presents a potential enhancement to a project's outcome, it should be evaluated as an opportunity. A thorough feasibility and impact analysis is crucial to understand if incorporating the discovery is truly beneficial, considering its implications on scope, schedule, cost, and risk, before committing to a fundamental shift. This careful assessment ensures that the project leverages advantageous external developments without compromising its objectives. Always evaluate potential opportunities thoroughly to ensure they add value to the project. Question 22. An external audit of a completed project identifies a significant deficiency in a critical process that is also being used in your current project. This discovery necessitates a review and potential change to your current project's process. What is the most important step for the project manager to take? A. Immediately stop all work on the affected process in the current project. B. Schedule a meeting with the audit team to challenge their findings. C. Conduct a detailed analysis of the deficiency's impact on the current project and propose a corrective action. D. Document the deficiency as a lesson learned for future projects only. Answer: C. Conduct a detailed analysis of the deficiency's impact on the current project and propose a corrective action. When an external audit reveals a significant deficiency in a process used in the current project, the most important step for the project manager is to conduct a detailed analysis of the deficiency's impact. Understanding how the deficiency affects the current project's outcomes, quality, and risks is critical. This analysis will then inform the proposal of a corrective action, which may involve process adjustments, rework, or other changes, to ensure the current project does not suffer from the same issue. Always thoroughly analyze and act upon external findings that impact current project processes. Question 23. An Agile team receives feedback from a beta test group, external stakeholders, indicating that a core feature is confusing and difficult to use, conflicting with the product owner's initial vision. What should be the immediate focus for the team and product owner? A. Defend the original design, as it aligns with the initial vision. B. Document the feedback for consideration in a future release. C. Collaborate to understand the root cause of the confusion and prioritize a solution. D. Ask the beta testers to re-evaluate the feature after more training. Answer: C. Collaborate to understand the root cause of the confusion and prioritize a solution. When an Agile team receives external feedback indicating that a core feature is confusing, the immediate focus for the team and product owner should be to collaborate, understand the root cause of the confusion, and prioritize a solution. Agile principles emphasize continuous feedback and adaptation to deliver value. Instead of defending the original design or delaying action, understanding the why behind the user experience issue allows for informed adjustments to the product backlog in subsequent sprints. Always embrace external feedback as an opportunity for improvement and adapt accordingly. Question 24. A key strategic partner, external to the project, decides to pull out of the collaboration due to internal restructuring, potentially jeopardizing a critical integration point for your project. What is the project manager's most immediate action? A. Seek legal advice on potential breach of contract. B. Inform the project team to cease work on the integration point. C. Assess the impact on the project, including alternative strategies and new risks. D. Update the stakeholder register to reflect the partner's withdrawal. Answer: C. Assess the impact on the project, including alternative strategies and new risks. When a key strategic partner withdraws from collaboration due to external factors, the project manager's most immediate and critical action is to assess the comprehensive impact on the project. This assessment includes identifying alternative strategies to address the critical integration point, evaluating potential new risks, example schedule delays, cost increases, quality issues, and understanding the full ramifications. This thorough evaluation forms the basis for informed decision-making and developing a suitable response plan. Always conduct a comprehensive impact assessment when key external partnerships change. Question 25. A project is nearing completion when a new environmental protest group targets the project, claiming it will harm a local ecosystem not previously identified as sensitive. This external factor presents a new, significant risk. What is the project manager's first step in managing this new risk? A. Dismiss the claims as uninformed and continue with completion. B. Engage with environmental experts and local authorities to validate or refute the claims. C. Prepare a formal risk response plan to address potential delays. D. Update the project's risk register with the new external risk. Answer: B. Engage with environmental experts and local authorities to validate or refute the claims. When a new external risk, such as environmental claims by a protest group, emerges, the project manager's first step in managing it should be to validate or refute the claims by engaging with relevant experts and authorities. Before developing a response or updating registers, it's crucial to understand the legitimacy and potential severity of the claim. This due diligence ensures that the project responds based on facts and accurate assessments, avoiding unnecessary panic or misdirected efforts. Always seek to validate external claims and understand their factual basis before proceeding with further risk management steps.